Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I join the Prime Minister in offering condolences to all those who died in the horrific attack fuelled by hate in Quebec, and I think we should send our solidarity to everyone in Canada on this sad occasion. Mr. Speaker, may I also associate myself with the Prime Minister's tribute to the former member for West Lothian and later Linlithgow, Tam Dalyell. A Labour MP, former Father of the House, he doggedly fought to expose official wrongdoing and cover-ups from the miners' strike to Iraq. I'm sure that the Prime Minister would agree with me that Tam's scrutiny and contributions made this House a better place. And can I recommend to all members his autobiography, The Importance of Being Awkward? And I'm quite happy, Mr. Speaker, to offer my copy to the Secretary of State for Brexit to have a good read of it. I'm sure he's probably already read it. Mr. Speaker, at last week's Prime Minister's question time, the Prime Minister told the House, "I'm not afraid to speak frankly to the President of the United States." What happened?
Well, first of all, can I say to the right honourable gentleman that I wasn't aware of the book that he's referred to by Tam Dalyell, The Importance of Being Awkward, but I suspect, given the number of resignations he's had from his front bench, that some of his colleagues have indeed read that. I'm happy to say to the right honourable gentleman that when I visited the United States, I'm pleased to say that I was able to build on the relationship we have with our most important ally and to get some very significant commitments from President Trump. And crucial among those was a 100% commitment to NATO. NATO which keeps us safe and keeps Europe safe too.
Corbyn. Mr. Speaker, Downing Street has not denied that the Prime Minister was told by the White House that the executive order on travel to the US was imminent. So let's be clear, was the Prime Minister told about the ban during her visit, and did she try to persuade President Trump otherwise?
First of all, on the policy that President Trump has introduced, this government is clear that that policy is wrong. We wouldn't do it. In 6 years as Home Secretary, I never introduced such a policy. We believe it is divisive and wrong. If he's asking me whether I had advance notice of the ban on refugees, the answer is no. If he's asking me if I had advance notice that the executive order could affect British citizens, the answer is no. If he's asking if I had advance notice of the travel restrictions, the answer is we all did, because President Trump said he was going to do this in his election campaign. The question is how you respond. The job of government is not to chase the headlines. The job of government is not to take to the streets in protest. The job of government is to protect the interests of British citizens, and that's exactly what we did.
Mr. Speaker, on the day after the executive order was made to ban refugees and visitors from 7 predominantly Muslim countries, why did she 3 times refuse to condemn the ban then?
I've made very clear that we believe that this policy is divisive and wrong, that it is not a policy that we would introduce, and I've also made very clear when asked about this that this government has a very different approach to these issues. On refugees, this government has a proud record of the support that we have given to refugees, and long may it continue.
Corbyn. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said the United States is responsible for the United States policy on refugees. But surely it is the responsibility of all of us to defend the 1951 Refugee Convention, which commits this country, the United States, and 142 other states to accept refugees without regard to their race, religion, or country of origin. President Trump has breached that convention. Why didn't she speak out?
First of all, I've made absolutely clear what the government's view on this policy is. Secondly, as I've just said, this government has a proud record, and this country has a proud record, of how it welcomes refugees. We have, over the recent years, we've introduced the very particular scheme to ensure that particularly vulnerable refugees in Syria can be brought to this country, and something like 10,000 Syrian refugees have come to this country since the conflict began. We're also the second biggest bilateral donor, helping and supporting refugees in the region. That is what we are doing. I have said that the policy is wrong. We will take a different view, and we will continue to welcome refugees to this country.
Corbyn.
Mr. Speaker, I also wrote to the Prime Minister on this issue, and I received her reply this morning. I hold in my hand her piece of paper. She makes no mention of the Refugee Convention, nor condemns the US actions in this respect. Mr. Speaker, last week I also asked the Prime Minister to assure the House that in any United States trade deal she would not offer up our National Health Service as a bargaining chip. She gave no answer. When asked in the US, she also refused to rule it out. So let's ask her a third time. Will she rule out opening up our National Health Service to private US healthcare companies? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, I could give a detailed answer to the right honourable gentleman's question, but I think a simple and straightforward reply is what is required. The NHS is not for sale, and it never will be.
I hope, Mr. Speaker, that includes not having US healthcare companies coming in to run any part of our National Health Service. Mr. Speaker, President Trump has torn up international agreements on refugees. He's threatened to dump international agreements on climate change. He's praised the use of torture. He's incited hatred against Muslims. He's directly attacked women's rights. Just what more does President Trump have to do before the Prime Minister will listen to the 1.8 million people who've already called for his state visit invitation to be withdrawn?
The right honourable gentleman's foreign policy is to object to and insult the democratically elected head of state of our most important ally. Let's just see what he would have achieved in the last week. Would he have been able to protect British citizens from the impact of the executive order? No. Would he have been able to lay the foundations of a trade deal? No. Would he have got a 100% commitment to NATO? No. That's what Labour has to offer this country. Less protection for British citizens, less prosperous, less safe. He can lead a protest. I'm leading a country.
Good Robertson. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And we on these benches associate ourselves with all the comments thus far on the tragic deaths in Quebec City and on the passing of Tam Diel. The respect for him was held across the political parties, and he served with great distinction for more than 40 years. The Prime Minister had a very successful international visit in this last week to Ireland. And there she spoke publicly about her commitment. And it's very important, I think, this commitment not to have a hard border on these islands, that there should continue to be free movement of peoples on these islands, and that trade should be protected and enhanced. So given that people will be watching this not just in Britain, but also in Ireland, would she take the opportunity now to explain how she will deliver these sensible and important outcomes?
These are absolutely the outcomes that we want to see. I was very pleased to meet with the Taoiseach and to discuss with him the joint intent that both his government and mine have to ensure that we don't see a return to the borders of the past in Northern Ireland. And just to say that, of course, we focus on the land border that is between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. Of course, the issue of movements from Ireland does affect other places as well. It affects ports in Wales and, of course, Stranraer. So it is an important issue for us, and we have agreed the work that we're going to do together to deliver what I believe will be as frictionless as possible a border, and also one of the objectives that I set out in my plan for our negotiating objectives is to retain the common travel area.
Angus Robertson.
And we on these benches very much welcome what the Prime Minister has just had to say on all of these issues. And of course we also welcome the intensifying of negotiations between the UK Government and the devolved administrations ahead of triggering Article 50. So the Prime Minister has very helpfully explained that it is perfectly possible for parts of these islands to be in the single market without hard borders, with free movement of people, and at the same time protect and enhance trade with one another. This is very, very welcome, Mr. Speaker. So will the Prime Minister give a commitment to work with the Irish Government and a commitment to work with the Scottish Government to deliver all of these things? Or will we just have to get on with it ourselves?
Well, first of all, the Right Honourable Gentleman is right that following the meeting of the JAMC plenary session on Monday morning, we did agree to an intensification of discussion on issues related to the bringing back of powers from Brussels and as to where those powers should lie within the United Kingdom, to intensify that in the run-up to the triggering of Article 50 and beyond the triggering of Article 50. And on the other question, I'm afraid, he really should listen to the answers that are given, because he's trying to imply something that isn't there. We're very clear, that we want to see a frictionless border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. But I'm also clear that one of our objectives of our negotiation is to see as frictionless a border as possible between the United Kingdom and the rest of the European Union. And of course, if he's so worried about having a frictionless border between Scotland and countries in the European Union, then he shouldn't want to take Scotland out of the European Union by wanting to see it independent.